What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, August 30th. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the busiest lady in the business, Andrea Renee.
What's up, Greg?
There it is, energy! No.
Oh my god, it's almost PAX.
I should have told you, I should have saved it. Before the show went live, I complimented this dress. I love this dress.
Thank
this is
you.
A great dress. If
Thank
you're
you.
an audio listener, she looks like Darth Vader. That's what's going on.
Yes, I bought this at Disneyland during D23. Not this year, but 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I saw it in my closet this morning. I was like, you know what? That dress does not get enough airtime.
How is a D23? I've never gone to that convention.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's much different than like PAX, for example, or
Sure.
Comic-Con, because the scope of it is much smaller. One of the really interesting parts about D23 is that you get to see what the parks have in store. They have like booth space where they do mock-ups
Like
and
what's
things
coming
like that.
and stuff like that?
Exactly. So when I was there, they were talking about all the mock-ups for Disney Shanghai, I believe it is.
Okay.
And so it was really neat to see how Disney
Based
was
on the movie
taking...
Shanghai Noon, right?
No.
Jackie Chan, remember? Owen Wilson, yeah.
Great movie.
Thank you, Kev.
Great
Thank
movie.
you.
So it was really cool. And then back then, that's when Disney had a bunch of video game stuff.
Sure.
Really pertinent to Disney Infinity. Obviously sad.
Yeah,
Disney Infinity is no longer with us. But this year they talked about obviously Kingdom Hearts and
had a lot of stuff this year.
the Marvel Powers United VR. I think
Yep.
that's the name of that game.
Yep.
And some other stuff. But yeah, Darth Vader dress.
Well, it's good to have you back. I've missed you.
I know it's been a whole week.
I know. I don't like it.
too
I don't like it
long.
one bit. I gotta look over there. Sometimes it's Danny. He's like, hey, he's got a shillelagh, a little green hat. He's granting me wishes. It sucks. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily each and every weekday. We jump in to the nerdy video game news you need to know about. We give you opinions, perspective. We have a good time. We answer your questions. We read your bad PSN names. Basically, we do anything you want us to do that you tell us to do over at kindafunny.com/KFGD. If you like that, you can watch as we record it on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, but we don't look at the chat. The only way to interact is to go to kindafunny.com/you'rewrong and correct us on the things we screw up during the show. So at the end of the show, we can set the record straight so that when it gets to youtube.com/kindafunnygames and podcast services around the globe each and every day, it's correct and everybody has a good time. Housekeeping for you. You mentioned it. PAX. Right around the corner. You leave tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning.
Ooh-wee. Then Friday, you're hosting the Life is Strange panel at 1.
Correct.
At night, you're doing the What's Good Game / Life is Strange launch party panel. Or a party, not panel.
Correct.
Saturday at 5 o'clock, there's the What's Good Games panel.
Correct.
Saturday at 8:30 is my Batman crowd play with Telltale.
Yeah, woo.
Sunday, thank you. Sunday at noon, I'm doing a Rooster Teeth signing over at the Rooster Teeth booth. You can come get my autograph. Maybe I'll write it on your face. I'll even, for a limited time, for the first 5 people who ask, I'll forge Kevin's signature. I'll forge it for him so he doesn't do
You
it.
don't know what it looks like.
It's yeah, I do. I've seen it. It's just a giant circle.
Do it right
with,
now.
like, did it. See?
All right.
There
There you go. You got
And then
it.
Sunday at 5 o'clock is my cancer panel. Come watch me cry.
Don't
Also,
cry, Greg.
oh, dude. Putting together the presentation. Now, granted, I was having a few beers and I was reading emails I hadn't read in 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry on that panel. And then also party mode is up right now on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Go check that out. It's a really, really funny one with Drive Club VR. Does Andy get sick in it? He does. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. There are 3 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen?
Yeah, well, exactly. Right. When it went to 5-3, it was definitely a baker's dozen. Number 1. Now I'm violating rules of the show you and I have established.
Okay.
But we're gonna get to the newsy part of it. PlayStation Plus has revealed the lineup of the free games for September. You know as well as I, Andrew Renee, this should go down in deals of the day. We've said
Indeed.
that. However, the first crack in the dam has formed. All right. So. What you're getting on your PlayStation Plus lineup for September is Infamous Second Son on PlayStation 4, Strike Vector EX, or Strike Vector X, PS4, Monster Jam Battlegrounds, PS3, Hustle Kings, PS3, Hue on PlayStation Vita, which is cross-buy with PlayStation 4, and phenomenal. I really enjoyed that game. Did you play it?
I did not.
Well, it's over Christmas when I was up in Montreal. This is what I was playing on the Vita. Had a great time. Then Skyforce Anniversary is coming to PlayStation Vita, cross-buy with PS4 and PS3. Then Dead by Daylight will be free September 15th through the 18th. You can get it at a discount afterwards.
That's a small window.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just to get you in there. Get you hooked. Yeah, get you hooked. The
Literally.
first hit's free, kid. Ooh, I see what you did there. And then the reminder is That's You is available as a free download still through October 23rd. However, the news here that we've all been waiting for is this. I'm going to quote right from the PlayStation blog. Here's a bonus for PlayStation VR owners. PlayStation Plus members in the US and Canada will also get RIGS Mechanized Combat League as a free bonus game from September 5th through November 7th. RIGS is a first-person, arena-based shooter developed from the ground up for PlayStation VR. Then it goes on to tell you more and more about it. What's exciting about this is we've been waiting and waiting and waiting. When will they add PlayStation VR games to the PlayStation Plus lineup? And here they are, I assume, testing the waters.
Da-da-da-da.
What does this mean, Andrea? Many people have questions. Are you ready for them?
I'm ready.
First off, Jeremiah Jux wrote into kindafunny.com about this and says, whoa, 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 whoa. Good morning, Greg and Andrea. Just saw the PS Plus lineup for September, and I was surprised to find RIGS is on there, a PSVR title. I was in the, quote, PSVR equals dusty headset, end quote, question a few weeks ago, but boy, does this announcement instill confidence in me. I think it's time to bust out my Swiffer and put my expensive hat back on for some RIGS. My question is, what other surprising, or maybe not so surprising moves can we expect from Sony when it comes to PlayStation VR, especially for PSX 2017 coming up? This is a fascinating announcement, a fascinating move based on the fact that on Monday we talked about the new bundle for PlayStation VR, right? Price drop by them putting in the camera, price drop on the VR Worlds bundle they had been doing before, which for me was interesting, but also not alarming, but interesting in the fact that we've seen all the other VR headsets start coming down in price. And what does that mean? Are people getting scared? They want to leave the market space? Are they worried about this? Do they still believe in VR? So on and so forth. Added to that, at GameStop Expo this week, when we were up there, Assad was on the program, sat there with Tim and I asked him point blank, what is going on with VR? Is VR dead? Do you guys still believe in it? Are we still doing thing? He said, no, we still very much believe in it. Went through a whole bunch of stuff they're doing. Talked to us about how AAA VR to them doesn't necessarily mean a AAA game you're going to get, a Witcher 3, a Naughty Dog game. It means the fact that a far point to them is a AAA VR game in the way that a lot of time, a lot of work, it is a full-fledged experience. Something's going on there. But people like Moss and other games in there, what Supermassive's doing with the Inpatient, these are other experiences there that show their commitment to it. And I was like, well, are we going to see more of that? Do you have more things we don't know about? And he said, of course we do. I would venture to guess PSX is there. Andrew, what is your read right now on PlayStation VR?
I think it's just getting started.
Yeah.
They certainly invested a lot of money researching and developing that piece of hardware. It sold pretty well.
Yeah.
And they have their Paris Games Week press conference as well, where we might see some PSVR announcements.
Sure, TGS too.
You guys just announced the TGS thing yesterday. And of course, PSX is a great place to showcase PSVR exclusives. There's just too much money in VR for it to go away.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away. I think they probably are wrestling with ways to make it more approachable and accessible to people. Clearly, a price drop, helps make it more accessible, getting it into more people's hands. But not only that, it's not exactly the most user-friendly experience. There's a reason why I don't plug our headset in very much at home.
Me too.
Because you have to set up the chair, and then you have to get the move controllers, and you have to make sure the camera's in the right spot.
They're not charged. Okay, hold on. Do
So
this.
there's a lot of moving parts to it. And I think that if they can figure out a way to make that plug and play experience just a step or two easier, I think more people will play.
The interesting thing for me is keeping the fan base happy. Jeremiah Jux points out that he was a question from a couple weeks ago of like, oh man, I'm not using it. I've week after week been surprised we don't get more of those emails. And the fact that I think people, and I know I've beaten this dead horse, but I'm going to continue to beat it right now.
Okay, you
people
go for
understood
it.
the messaging that PlayStation put out, and then people like us talked about all the time of, this is Gen 1, it's going to go, we're going to see where it goes, we're going to build this together, it's not going to come out and be a must-have, you have to understand this, blah, blah, blah. The fact that PlayStation, again, is talking about it is really helpful. In the way that I think that was the alarming thing for me, who's seen PlayStation Move and PlayStation Vita and things kind of fade away, right? Where it's out for a while, it is the hot thing, it doesn't do great in launch or in terms of critical acclaim, or also I guess units moved for definitely both those things. But people back off of it. Whereas with PlayStation VR, I loved the messaging going in. I loved Andy House being like, I didn't expect. I told people to be conservative on this, and clearly they're too conservative. And I love the fact they are talking about it again. I do think that, to Jeremiah Jux's point, putting rigs in there is going to get more people to play rigs, especially if they passed on that. I passed on that. I didn't buy that.
Absolutely. I mean, look what it did for Rocket League.
Yeah.
You make a game free. It makes it. an easy choice for people to try it out. And then once you get them hooked back on that experience again, they're more likely to go and look at what else is available, what else is for sale in the PlayStation Store right now for VR, or what's coming down the line.
Since the last time I plugged this in, what has changed on the store? It's like when I'll boot up the Switch and I haven't played in a week or whatever, and I'm going on a flight, like, wait, what have I missed? Or in the last 2 weeks, what have I gone out of my way to see? And I think that adding PlayStation VR titles to PlayStation Plus lineup is the way to do that, in the same way to get those final dominoes to fall, right? Oh, I've seen stuff for VR, it looks cool, but I don't know. And then suddenly when it's like, well, I already have 4 games, 5 games as the months tick by, well, now I have a reason to buy it. I have a library established. Mark Freeman writes in on that vein. He says, hi, Greg and Andrea. With today's announcement that Riggs, a PlayStation VR title, is joining the lineup as a bonus game, do you think this is the beginning of the end for either Vita or PS3? If so, how much notice will we get, I think it means. Personally, if PS3 think, I know Mark Freeman, he doesn't write like this. If PS3 think it's a great move to strengthen PSVR sales, as now, you know what he's saying.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mark. Someone get to a doctor. It seems like you're having a stroke because you wrote the question. How much longer do you think? Because that's been the argument we've had, right? In the thought that they'll add PlayStation VR, but they'll also remove your Vita game, your PS3 game, something to that effect. They'll try to level it off that way rather than just continue to give you more free than they have to.
I don't know if that's the case.
You don't think so?
No, I mean, it all comes down to, for Sony, it comes down to a cost, right? So the PlayStation Plus games aren't free for Sony to give to you because they still have to pay the developers for those games, right? So I think it's all about whatever deals PlayStation is making with people that particular month. I don't think they necessarily need to take something off the table in order to put PSVR games in the bundle of games you get for free. I think it all just depends on what the game is, who the studio is, and what their overall, business dealings are for the future.
Sure. See, I think that Vita will be the next to fall. I think they do take one away because it is still money out of their pocket. They have to pay these people for the games they're giving away. And I think the problem is that when you remove Vita, that's literally like, all right, the Vita's dead. And I think as long as people are still putting out Vita games, which they are, you can't do that because why would I continue to support your platform if you're not supporting it? And granted,
well, I mean, it also doesn't have to be something that's definitive. They can just take Vita games out for like a month or two and promote PSVR games.
Sure, but you know how that headline will go. You know how social media will go. That's it. They've turned their back.
No, come on, calm down. It's fine.
I don't know if you've met me. I don't get calm about my Vita often. And then what's interesting is they are doing this bonus game, right? That it's a bonus game for you. And this is, I wonder if they'll just do that from now on. But even that lacks the oomph, right? When it was September's lineup got announced, all the headlines were about Infamous Second Son. And I missed it in the first thing because I went right to the bullet points that they had. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, these games. And then I read below. I was like, oh, shit, they're adding Riggs too. I think it's interesting in a way that you have to figure out a way to balance it. But it would be another good PSX announcement of, hey, we're also adding a VR game, VR game a month or whatever.
We just got to ask Shu what's happening with PSVR and PlayStation Plus.
We got to ask Shu a lot of things. Just don't ask him how Sucker Punch's next game is because he'll keep saying it's great and he won't tell you what it is. Number 2, Telltale got interviewed over at Eurogamer. Our friend of the show, Joe Stauffer, got asked about Game of Thrones, the next Game of Thrones season. Eurogamer says, so Wolf Among Us in the back half of next year, will that be alongside Game of Thrones? Job says, no. Not long after the conclusion of the first season, we said would be continuing, and we had designs of the future of Telltale's Game of Thrones. Right now, that is on hold. We haven't announced it, which does not mean it's never coming back, but I think right now we're anxious to get back into Wolf, Walking Dead, and Batman, and see where things go with the narrative of the Game of Thrones show before we really come back to the table with something we're excited about. Eurogamer. Right. Obviously, next year is the last season of Game of Thrones TV show, so you'll be keeping an eye on that before making any decision. Job. Right now, we're back into being huge Game of Thrones fans. So for us to say what will be the best follow-up to that first season and when that is going to happen is too soon to say. I don't think we'll ever get another Game of Thrones season from Telltale Games.
I don't think so either. And that's sad to me because that series had a lot of potential of all of the licensed stuff that Telltale has been working on. I really enjoyed the writing and the storylines. It felt very true to the, kind of intricate relationships that are set up in not only the series of Game of Thrones, but also in the books.
Sure.
And I thought the original characters that they created for that, it's set inside the world of A Song of Ice and Fire, was really great. I was really disappointed in the execution of that game, which we've talked about on the show before.
Talk to me more in depth about it, though, because what I did is I'm not the biggest Game of Thrones fan, but I like Telltale. So I played episode 1, and I was like, all right, not for me. This isn't where it's going. I mean, knowing what it was, but it was just it feels like I never heard anyone really talk about it. Like, I completed the season. I loved Game of Thrones. I hated Game of Thrones. Here's why.
I couldn't get through the 5th episode because of the jank. It was real bad.
Okay.
And maybe if I was to go back and play it now and finish it now, it would be better. I don't know if they've patched it. It's been quite some time since that game came out. The biggest problem I had with that game was the art style, because certain properties felt good in their art styles. The Wolf Among Us felt perfect in that art style. The Walking Dead felt great. Borderlands, they all really fit that same type of art style.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones just did not feel right, especially since they used the likenesses of some of the characters from the series.
I was going to say, right.
And they just looked a little weird.
Yeah, because you know these characters from the real world.
Right,
it's not
because they
giving you a
used the
different
voice
Bruce
actors
Wayne.
from the series, which clearly they can't afford them now, right? Like their paycheck is way too expensive.
Oh, okay.
And so like I think that is an issue as well, is that these actors are like, well, we're not going to do VO for this game unless you pay us X amount of money, which is the whole reason why they're having a strike right now. And so more importantly though, like the backgrounds, the character design, the overall art direction, I just felt was a big miss. And I was incredibly disappointed to see a tentpole license like Game of Thrones kind of glossed over in that way. And I haven't gotten a chance to talk to Telltale about why they made the artistic choices that they did in Game of Thrones, but I would be interested to know like why they went with that, because there are some close-ups that are just plain ugly. I'm gonna
Like,
say
why?
it.
Why are you doing this?
It looks like bad watercolor, and I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
Why did you do this? The story is so fantastically written in that game.
Yeah.
They make you make some really gross choices, which is very Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And like so few Telltale games recently have had choices that have a huge amount of weight behind them, in my personal opinion. Like it's hard to really compare to the original season of The Walking Dead from Telltale, because those choices really felt like you were having to make life and death choices. And some of the newer stuff it's kind of like, oh, well, I side with this person or this person, but it's not like I have to kill this person or this person and then they're forever gone from your game.
Yeah.
And Game of Thrones had some really heavy choices like that. And so I was disappointed. I wanted to like it more, but you let me down.
Well, I don't think you'll ever get a second chance at it, so.
No, they won't. I really would
Do you
be.
know? I mean,
I would be
spoilers.
super shocked if they made a season 2.
Spoilers? Do you know what the ending was? Like, was there a giant cliffhanger? Because that's what the Eurogamer interviewer kind of implies, that like they left us all on the.
I never finished it.
I didn't know if you read the Wikipedia or something.
I
where it's
should.
like-
I should go back and figure out what happens. I can read like what the different arcs were with the
Sure.
characters that are still standing at the end. But
I hear it just takes place in a forest preserve. That's
a lot of it is in a forest. It's true.
Number 3, this is for our UK viewers. CEX, the second-hand video game retailer, has been hacked. This is GameSpot's story. European retailer CEX has suffered a security breach with up to 2 million customers' details at risk. The company says the data includes, quote, some personal information such as first name, surname, address, email address, and phone number, as well as encrypted data from expired credit and debit cards up to 2009. CEX says it is liaisoning with, quote, the relevant authorities, including the police, regarding the hack, which was carried out by an unauthorized third party. It's currently unclear precisely what data has been shared about specific customers, but the company is contacting up to 2 million people as a precaution. It also notes that no valid financial information has been lost, as it stopped storing customers' credit and debit cards details in 2009. The retailer claims no in-store customers should be affected, only online ones, and although passwords are not stored in plain text, customers are advised to create a new one, as, quote, a third party could still determine the original password and could attempt to use it across other unrelated services. Finally, the company states that if you do not receive an email containing recommended next steps, then your account is safe. Stupid hackers.
Hackers are dumb.
Heads up, though.
I mean, you're technically really smart, but you're bad
exactly,
people.
Yeah. There's, come on. Don't go after these people. They're secondhand video games. That's all they cared about. Andrea.
Yes.
If I wanted to know what new non-secondhand video games were out in the digital mom and grab shops, where would I go?
You would go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform, as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show host each and every weekday.
Out today! Ye 7 on PC, The Art of Fighting Anthology on PlayStation 4, X-Morph Defense on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, The Metronomicon Slay the Dance Floor on Xbox One, Surf World Series on Xbox One, Eternio Blade, Xbox One, Feral Fury on Xbox One, and then Chase wrote in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD just like you can and says, DCUO, the new power comes out today. Water, just something new I thought you might add. Thank you, Chase. I would not have known that the water power game.
Forgot one.
What I forget? Tell me. Put it on there.
The King of Fighters 14 Special Anniversary Edition is available digitally today. Includes all the DLC.
On Xbox One?
No, it is on... looking at the press release. PlayStation 4.
I gotta get with the times and put it up on Tuesday. Come on, King of Fighters. Who are you trying to be? Trying to be somebody special out there? Tuesday. That's PlayStation Day. We got a whole bunch of new dates from that Nindies event today. You watched it, right?
I did watch it.
What'd you think?
I thought that they showed some really cool games.
Yeah.
And they showed some, franchises that we know coming with special editions to the Switch. Super Meat Boy, Forever, which looks cool. And
now that's new though, right? It's a new game, and it's like the levels get harder once you beat them. So if you come back, you're gonna be grinding. And I saw punches and kicks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I thought that looked good. They have another expansion for Shovel Knight.
Sure.
Shovel Knight King of Cards.
Yeah.
And
Floor Kids, I thought looked cool.
Yeah,
the break dancing game.
Yeah,
I like
the art style in that one.
Cool.
The one with the elephant.
Yoko, right? Or,
Yono.
Yono and the Celestial Elephants.
He looks so cute.
He does look very cute. I know.
And he can throw fire with his trunk.
Sure. Just like all elephants.
Yeah.
Golf Story, though, that's the real one. Anyway, let me run you through these dates. You stop me if you want to talk about the games.
Okay.
Super Meat Boy Forever. These are all Switch games, and if they aren't, I'll tell you when we get down to it. Super Meat Boy Forever coming in 2018. Shovel Knight, King of Cards, early 2018. Mom Hid My Game later in 2017. Golf Story, September 2017. Can't fucking wait. Floor Kids, holiday 2017. That's a Nintendo first game. Wolver Blade, September 2017. That's another Nintendo first game. Poly Bridge, December 2017. Kentucky Route Zero TV Edition coming in early 2018. That's coming to Xbox One, PS4, and PC as well. And of course, for PC, it would just be the last episode because there's already a bunch of episodes up for that. Earth Atlantis is coming this fall, first on Switch. Next Up Hero, early 2018. SteamWorld Dig 2 is coming September 21st, premiering on Switch. Mulaka coming early 2018. Yono and the Celestial Elephants coming October 2012. No, October 12th. It's been out, turns out, for 5 years. Now, October 12th. Dragon Marked for Death is coming this winter, exclusive at launch. Battle Chef Brigade from Adult Swim's coming out on December 2017. Morphe's Law is coming this winter. It's a console exclusive for Switch. It looks weird, but cool. Like, I want to try that one. That's the one where you shoot each other and parts get bigger or smaller or whatever. All right. Sausage Sports Club comes fall 2017, first on Switch. Light Fingers is coming early 2018. Nine Parchments is coming holiday 2017. And then No More Heroes, Travis Strikes Again is coming 2018, launching exclusively on Switch. Whew. A lot of stuff.
What do you think about that Suda 51?
Whatever.
not your thing?
I tried to get into No More Heroes. I played it for a while on Wii when the first one came out, right? And it was like, okay, cool. Not really my style, not really my thing. And this one's weird, right? Because it's 6 different games. So is it
mini games?
Exactly. So
or is it episodes?
You get stabbed by the controller and then pulled into 6 different games or have to beat the boss. And it's like, so is it going to be the No More Heroes people want, or is it new take? It could be awesome. Don't get me wrong, but we'll see. Deals of the day. I couldn't find any good ones, but I did find over on Kotaku a heads up for you. Rock of Ages 2 that came out yesterday. We were talking about it. It's also there's the Rock of Ages 2 complete bundle on PSN. It claims to be a PlayStation 4 game. It actually includes a PS3 game, so it's a PS3 game and a PS4 game. Heads up if you were to buy it. Atlas has apologized and is correcting it, but right now, heads up. PS4 and PS3 game, no matter what it says. Don't panic when you get it.
No panicking.
Don't panic, Kevin. Time to check in with the readers. Remember, you can be part of the show. kindoffunny.com/KFGD, just like Reverse Flash did. Hey, Greg and Andrea.
Yes.
Oh, you leaned in like you're going to say something. I want to give you a second. Okay. Fire Emblem Warriors got its release date for Switch the other day, and I can't help but wonder if this release is too close to Mario Odyssey 1 week apart. You guys have talked about how all these Switch games, Zelda, Mario Kart, ARMS, and Splatoon, have all sold over 1 million copies. That's fantastic, but they've all had their own month to shine, so to speak. Fire Emblem Warriors does not seem to be getting much of a marketing push from Nintendo, given the release date announcement was just a small tweet out of the blue. I can't help but think everyone will be spending their money on Odyssey and forget or not notice Fire Emblem during that time. Will this be the first Nintendo Switch game not to sell so well? What's your read on this? Reverse Flash.
I think there are quite a few Fire Emblem games, and I don't think it releasing in that window is going to be its downfall. I think its downfall is that there's just a lot of Fire Emblem to play. And I don't know if the same audience is going to be playing both of those games. So I don't think it's a fair comparison. I mean, clearly, like, they are still competing in the same space, but I don't think it's going to be, like, I don't think they're going head to head.
Yeah, my read on it was the fact that Fire Emblem fans are Fire Emblem fans, and they know there's a Fire Emblem coming up. They're stoked for it. They can't wait for it. And I think that when you talk about a Mario game is going to have this mainstream mass appeal to everyone who has a Switch, Fire Emblem is going to speak to people who are Fire Emblem fans or skipped out on. I didn't play the other Fire Emblems that had come to like 3DS, and there was like, but I know what you're talking about the first one, and not the first, but the one that hit on 3DS. That everybody loved, that everybody was playing. It was like, oh, people really care about this game. That's interesting. Then I felt like, yeah, there's been like 17 more since then. And it seems like they haven't gotten that buzz. But a Fire Emblem game finally making its way to Switch, I think that even if you were into the first one or one of these and you burned out and didn't play anymore, now that it's on the Switch, which everybody wants to buy games for, I feel like people are going to pick that up and be excited for it. No, and I don't think it was ever going to come out and do 3 million units or something like that, and I would say I don't even think it was ever going to come out and do the 1 million unit, but I'm not sure what the Fire Emblem sales have been. They keep fucking putting these people in Smash Brothers, so they've got to be popular, and I'm totally missing the boat, as I'm sure. So I think it's going to be okay. It is what it is. Fire Emblem fans know, video game fans know, and I think if you were going to buy Fire Emblem, you're going to buy Fire Emblem and not be worried that Mario's there a little bit. Absolutely.
I think Mario is going to crush it, and Fire Emblem is, again, exactly what you just said. They're not going head to head.
Andrew?
Yes.
L writes in, and I want your opinion on this. I remember we've had conversations about The Lost Legacy.
We have, yes.
I forget, have you beaten it, or were you still working your way through it?
I am still working my way through it, but I watched the end with John when he beat it.
Okay, cool. So, heads up, we're not gonna. There's going to be no spoilers here, and L's question doesn't go into spoilers either. But stick with me. L writes in and says, "Hey, Greg and Andrew, I wanted to respond to something you discussed in your mini Uncharted: The Lost Legacy spoiler cast. That was like a couple episodes ago here on the Games Daily Show. But don't worry, this isn't really a spoiler. It's about the relationship between Chloe and Nadine, and how you said you felt that the story might have been better had Chloe partnered with another character. I personally loved Chloe and Nadine's relationship, and I usually agree with most of your takes on games. But do you think it's possible that you missed out on some of the great nuances in their relationship because you've never experienced female friendship? I'm not talking about you being friends with a woman, but the unique relationship between two women. It's something really special and hard to describe, but I think the Naughty Dog team absolutely nailed it in the writing of this game. This realistic portrayal of female friendship made it one of my favorite Uncharted games, especially since Uncharted is a series that mostly focuses on male relationships and experiences. Just hoped you might consider another point of view. Love the show." Sorry, that was long. You got nothing on some of these kids, Elle. Don't worry, that wasn't that long.
No, that was definitely not that long. So here's the thing. As a woman who has experienced many female friendships in my life, I'm going to agree to disagree. I think also all female friendships are different. So perhaps Elle has had a friendship with a female that resembled the kind of relationship they had, but I would argue that what Chloe and Nadine have isn't a friendship. Mm-hmm. They make it clear through specific dialogue choices that this is just business.
This is a business relationship.
And they clearly, become closer throughout the course of the game. But when the game ends, I don't think that they're running out to get mani-pedis together, right?
Well, see, that's my thing. And again, no spoilers, blah, blah, blah. When I was talking on the spoiler cast, that was my problem, of course, we talked like, I almost did spoil stuff. I would have liked to have seen Chloe paired with somebody else because I didn't think Nadine was that great in this game in terms of her. I mean, Laura Bailey's performance is great, but in terms of her motivations, where she's going, what she's doing. But at the end, I do feel they are trying to make us think that they are like, oh, we're a team now. And I was like, that doesn't really that didn't feel earned. None of the moments in their journey felt earned, and it was just like
I talked about this pretty extensively on the What's Good Games podcast last
that
week.
Available?
You can get that at patreon.com/what'sgoodgames or on podcast services or at youtube.com/what'sgoodgames. So what I said was the dialogue choices that happen between them in moments, like you're in a climbing sequence, right? And you can hear Nadine and Chloe like kind of bantering back and forth with each other. It just doesn't feel friendly. It feels like they're acquaintances that are working together and that they could be chummy with each other, but it doesn't feel like Chloe's going to pour her heart out to Nadine.
Right.
And I think that maybe Naughty Dog intends to explore that relationship further, but in The Lost Legacy, it just didn't feel like it clicked, which is my biggest problem with the game and why I was a little disappointed because, as I mentioned to you on the show last week, it didn't have the same chemistry that Nate and Sully have.
Yeah.
And granted, they have developed that relationship over several franchises, over several games in the franchise, and Nadine and Chloe just haven't had that, but Nadine as a character is just hard. She's got an edge. She was a mercenary leader.
Yeah.
You know, she is a gun for hire. She is a badass and she's a really strong character, but I don't think that they have a female friendship because every female friendship I've ever had was not built on like, you're a badass bitch, I'm a badass bitch, we're just gonna only go around being badasses. Friendship is built on being able to be vulnerable with somebody and being able to have a deep connection with someone over those vulnerabilities. And that's why you're friends with people. At least that's my perspective.
Mic drop. I think you nailed it. But thank you, Al. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Where do I want to go? I'm going to go to Austin. Austin writes into kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, hello! I want to know if you guys have ever had a phone game that you have gotten addicted to and play every day for months. I usually don't play a ton of phone games for a long time, but I've been playing Star Wars Galaxy Heroes for around 4 to 5 months now, every single day. It has its hooks in me, and I don't want to stop anytime soon. What phone games have hooked you? For me, it was Game Dev Story. When that originally dropped, like that, I played that every night, or every day, I should say, on the way to and from work on the train, nonstop, trying to get the best game, make my sequels, make the money, do all this, crush the bugs. Because it really gave you a window into how easy it is to be a game dev. You know what I mean? I can't believe how many people screw this up because I just go crush the bugs until I put it out and sequelize it and I make a bunch of money.
The one game that really sunk its hooks into me was The Hobbit: Kingdoms of Middle-earth.
Really?
So this is a game designed by Kabam, a very successful mobile developer.
Sure.
And it was kind of part RTS, a little bit of base building, and you could form alliances and be part of like a guild. And I just got way sucked into this game. And a part of it was my love for, you know, the universe of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. And then part of it was, it just was like so addicting, and becoming part of an alliance really allowed me to connect with people in a way that I had never done in a mobile game before. Like I downloaded the Line app so we could actually chat about strategy, and we were...
What's the Line app?
So it's kind of like WhatsApp. It's just it's just like a chat app.
Okay.
Because there's no, the way that you talk to people in game is like a little bit
wonky.
Yeah. I mean, the chat client in game is okay, but like people would like send photos in the chat, and we would talk about our lives, and like people would be like, oh, I'm at work, I can't go pick up this gold over here or whatever. And we had like leaders who would, you know, rotate the packs that you would buy for microtransactions. So they would do these deals where if you spent like $100 on a microtransaction pack, everybody in your alliance would get like the $25 pack for free. And so we would just like take turns, like somebody would buy the $100 pack, and then everybody would benefit, and then the next time it was somebody else's turn. And I spent a fair amount of money on this
sounds
game.
like it.
I mean, because you have to check in with it constantly, because you have to defend your castle or whatever, or your fort in the game, because otherwise an invading army can come in and steal all of your resources. And so you have to constantly be monitoring the game. And I would have these nearby bases that I would go farm because I could tell like the person stopped playing because I'd keep attacking their base
like
and they would never defend.
all over
they would never
everything.
defend it, and so that's what my base is now. I have a pretty good farm for somebody who ever found it because I just stopped playing. But yeah, I spent many hours in that.
So were
game.
these people you randomly met, or were they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd never met any of these people in person. I still don't talk to I deleted the app a while ago because
Sure.
I was like, because
It's done.
here's what happens in these
Yeah.
alliances. The moment that you stop playing or that you lapse, we used to have to report into the heads if we were going to be out of
my
town
God.
or if we were going to be at work for extended periods of time because
Yeah.
they would check in on you and be like, hey, why aren't you contributing enough? Because like
Sure.
you pool all of your resources
Socialism.
when you're in the alliance, and then they're like, hey, you haven't checked in, you haven't logged in for 48 hours, what's going on, what are you doing? And then they would boot you from the alliance.
Damn.
And there was like an approval process. You had to request entrance to the alliance, and a lot of these had like high benchmarks. So like you have to have these kinds of stats in order to be considered.
Wow.
It was ruthless.
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's really, really cool.
So yeah, if you're
I mean,
interested, it's
cool.
a fun game.
It's cool in the video game nerdy way we all like to do
Yeah.
things, but like I don't hear people getting into mobile games like that, or at least talking about them.
Right.
That's why you're fascinating. You play so many different things.
This is people. I keep saying this. People are ignoring mobile games. There are some really fantastic mobile games. There's a reason why they make more money than any other video game platform right now.
You should
Just
make a
saying.
video. You should do a video for us.
Yeah.
For us, not for What's Good Games.
Okay.
For us. Of
Yeah.
like, hey, kind of funny best friends. Here's 5 mobile games that don't suck and why you should play them.
Sure.
Okay. Thomas H. wrote in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD, just like you should and can, to wash the mobile game taste out of our mouth. It says, what's up, Greg and Andrea? Is the essence of the console generational leap dead? Stick with me here. I know Sony has reassured us that there will be a PS5, but that can only really be true to a certain extent. To me, the success of a new console generation revolves around the hype and excitement of the generational leap in graphics, performance, gameplay, etc. For example, the huge graphical leap from PS2 to PS3 and 360, which also brought around entirely new genres of first-person shooters and, new genres of FPS, yeah, and open-world games to the forefront. But after Xbox One X, I can't help but feel that the next generation will feel like an underwhelming shuffle towards the future, rather than the massive, mind-boggling generational leaps of the past. Has the success of the next generation already been capped with a glass ceiling thanks to Xbox One X and PS4 Pro? And what does the generational leap mean to you? Obviously, this has been coming up a lot. The Xbox One X, the PlayStation 4 Pro, and what's happening here in the future. And we've talked about it this week already before you got here, obviously, because we're talking about this this is the same show
listen to
every
the shows.
day. I know. And that's the thing is I feel like right now, I personally, as a video game fan, am a bit rocked by everything. Just in the way of like, can they just keep making games like they are now that'll play on all these systems but look better on Xbox One X or Xbox 2 or PlayStation 5 but they're all backwards compatibility, but then are we gonna get like, and it's that really fucking weird question of like, well, if Xbox One X is the most powerful console and they're saying they can make everything run on the Xbox One no matter what platform you buy it on, do PlayStation 5 games work on PlayStation 4 but just look terrible? Like I just can't wrap my head around where we are, and it's very alarming being in the industry and be like, I don't know what's happening.
It's challenging because the technology is just moving so quickly now, and it's not just the game makers or the console makers. If you think about the internal parts, think about how often AMD, Nvidia, Intel are constantly updating their chipsets and their component pieces, and the console makers have to try to keep pace with that. I mean, that's like obviously the beauty of owning a PC and gaming on a PC is that you can constantly swap out those pieces, but it's expensive to do that. You can't be updating your graphics card every 6 months. And so it's a challenge for the people who are building this stuff to say, okay, how do we balance trying to keep pace with like the best technology that's available today while also not leaving people who've invested in our platform behind? And clearly the rise of digital gaming has opened up the door to say there's more possibilities now. We don't necessarily need to have a giant generational leap that we had from, say, the 360 to the One, or even from like the original Xbox to the 360, right?
And my counter argument to this would be actually that I feel like PS3 to PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, sure, it looks better, and I mean, like, we can get into the Mark Cerny demonstration of a million triangles falling. Like, I understand the text there, but it's not PS2 to PS3. It's not PS1 to PS2. Like, those were the ones I remember playing Madden on PS2 on launch day and being like, this looks like this. I can't fathom that I'm seeing this. Where it's like,
Yeah.
oh man, Second Son looks really great. Like I'm not like, oh man, this looks nothing like the Infamous I've played before.
Yeah, and it's different because I actually was just recently talking to someone about the generational leap from the SNES to the Nintendo 64 and how that was super mind-blowing because the technology just really jumped forward.
A totally different perspective, right, on how you're playing games.
And we're just not there anymore because we're taking so many more micro steps between those generations that it's incremental change, right? It could be argued even that going from an Xbox One to an Xbox One X is just an incremental visual change. Clearly they have like a lot more processing power and there's a lot of other back end things that are going to make it bigger. But to the naked eye, it's like, what am I truly getting?
Right.
Is GTA going to run so much better on an Xbox One X versus an Xbox One? I don't think it will. No.
And that's why it's weird of like, are we to a point where that can happen? Where Michael Pachter, I don't put him in the rundown. I love Pachter, obviously, great dude. But he was making predictions yesterday about PlayStation 5 and how it'll be backwards compatible with PS4 and all this different stuff. And I think he was saying 2019, right? And that's like, all we do is fucking shout out dates we think things are going to happen. So he's kind of in the same
he's
vein
a professional analyst.
You got to put
put a little bit of weight behind what he says.
I know. But it's that thing of like, are we to the point now where this is, this sounds shitty, stick with me. This is as good as games are, where there are no longer the giant leaps, and it is like, all right, cool, like we're borrowing a bit from PC and we're borrowing a bit from mobile, where it's like, yeah, there's going to be the Xbox S and the Xbox X and like these incremental things, and eventually there'll be a new, iPhone 5 or iPhone 10 or whatever, and there'll be a new PlayStation 5, but is there a way that the PlayStation 5 games are somehow running on older hardware? Is that a thing? Or does Sony totally throw a wrench in the works and say, all right, Xbox, you've been trying to catch up and keep goodwill. You're letting all your stuff be, Xbox One X games, or you know what I mean? There's the Xbox ecosystem, everything plays on everything. We're sticking with what we know, where PlayStation 5 is such a leap forward that you have to come join us if you want to play these games rather than that.
I think with something like PlayStation Now still existing and hypothetically going to be existing on the next console, whatever that is that PlayStation makes, I don't see that going away. Backwards compatibility has clearly been successful for Xbox and their ecosystem, but I'm always of the mindset, and I've said this many times on this show, I don't care to spend that much time playing old games.
Sure.
So it's not important to me.
For me, it's not even backwards compatibility as much as cross compatibility.
Okay.
Is how, with Xbox making the argument that we're done with generations, everything plays here, just looks better on Xbox One X. What does that mean for PlayStation and PlayStation 5? Because it could go one of two ways where, all right, let's say one of two ways being that PlayStation says PlayStation 5 is its own thing. There will be PlayStation 5 only games. You can't play them on PlayStation 4. Either that means suddenly the PlayStation 5 is so powerful, it's getting even more exclusives, knock on wood, because people are buying it, that those games aren't going to Xbox One, or are we getting the Xbox One versions up-resed again over, like, it's always, it seems like every time you talk about the future of video games, like, what a fascinating time to be alive. But in terms of the industry truly shifting and everything being really different, and does the Xbox One X, if they're going to say that's their next thing and they're going to stick with it, is that going to become the Dreamcast, or does PlayStation 5 become the Dreamcast? Because we're all over here being like, well, fucking Xbox One X actually nails something.
Let's hope nothing becomes the Dreamcast.
Sure. That's the hope. You never know. I can't wait to take it. Kevin, get a wrench and knock me out for 4 years. I want to see what happens when I wake up.
No.
No? Okay, sorry. Okay, don't do that. Don't do that.
Thanks, Kevin.
I feel like there's two really Andrea-heavy questions here to close out.
Okay.
I'm going to give them both back to back. Mark writes in, says, hey, Greg and Andrea. I was curious about your thoughts on how a developing community, or lack thereof, around a game impacts a player's experience of it. Absolver looks like it will definitely have its niche of followers, and I want to give it a shot as the community develops, specifically before anybody gets way too good at for the game to be enjoyable. I found myself using this rationale to justify my purchase because I've missed the community boat for games like The Division, Dark Souls 3, and Metal Gear Solid 5. I know I can still technically play them, but I feel like their times in the game space have passed. Going back at this point I just lost my place. Going back at this point seems like it would produce a less than ideal experience of the game, seeing as the majority of the population still playing at this point would be a small community of the most dedicated pro. Unless the game specifically accounts for it, as Robin was talking about Journey on the Gamescast, it seems like the flaw that most games have. Andrea, you might have to translate some of this for Greg. Destiny covers a similar spectrum for me too. Vault of Glass will always be a treasured gaming moment because my fire team and I legitimately figured out the raid on our own. For Crota's End, there were only 3 of us left, so we had to join in and be sherped around almost reluctantly by pros. And as the last one left for King's Fall, I was forced to research the raid strategies in order to even be a viable candidate for LFG sites. Looking for group, I got that. I'm all in for Destiny 2, but I wonder if this pattern will release itself. Thanks for all the amazing content. Until Kinda Funny Games Daily, I never realized how much I would appreciate having a podcast to look forward to each and every day. Keep up the great work, Mark. Communities and games. Tough.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it really depends on the game and its widespread popularity. I mean, look at a game. Let's take two games. Rainbow Six Siege and GTA Online. One game community has continued to grow over time, almost exponentially so. It gets bigger and bigger all the time.
Sure.
More and more people keep playing GTA Online. Rainbow Six Siege has a very dedicated but very small hardcore community. And as he's saying here, it's very difficult if you were to pick up Rainbow Six Siege now to try to get in because the people who are playing there are really, really good.
Sure.
And so unless you're willing to put in the practice time to get good, you know, you're gonna be frustrated.
Sure.
When he brings up Destiny, it's a fair point to say, hey, like I lost a lot of my clan along the way. I also lost a lot of my clan along the way. When King's Fall came out, I was in the same boat where it was like me and like 1 or 2 other people that were in our original Destiny clan. Yeah. And that's frustrating because using the previous LFG sites for Destiny was challenging. I had it a little bit easier because I could just tweet out and be like,
100%.
Who wants to play? Just like you tweet out and like, okay, best friends, let's play together. Yeah. But if you're just a person who's playing, who needs friends, and you have to go to an LFG site, it's pretty daunting because sometimes playing with strangers in that setting, especially for a raid where you have to work together and you're committed to probably playing for at least 2 to 4 hours, depending on your skill level in a raid. Like that's a long time to like be with people on chat that you don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm glad that Destiny 2 is taking big strides to fix that with their new community features and their new, you know, raid and clan and LFG features that are built into the game. But that doesn't mean every other game is going to do that. And it's tough. I think that you should never be afraid to try a game for this reason. Always keep an open mind because even though there are clearly like bad trolls out there who are just going to make your life miserable, there are far more good people out there who are willing to say, hey, I love this game, I want you to have a good time, let's do it. And you've always got the best friends.
Yeah, and that's that. I mean, that's my shorthand answer is like, I feel like what the Kinda Funny community is and the way we've built it, if you were to go to the forums, if you were to go to Reddit, if you go to the Facebook group and be like, hey, I want to try this game for the first time, does anybody want to join me? You're going to get folks who want to join you and go play it with you. And the same thing, like, it's interesting because, right, this is kind of my argument of what turned me off to Destiny was the fact of I was into it, enjoyed it, went away, everybody got good, raids started coming, blah, blah, blah. People wanted to pull me through and I didn't want to be pulled through. And that, I think for me, it wasn't, and then so many best friends reached out, like, we'll play and just let you figure it all out and do that. And I was like, that also doesn't fit it, right? Like, what I'm excited about with Destiny 2 is you and me and Andy, and we're all going to be playing and doing this thing and be on similar ground. Like, obviously, you're going to be better than me. You know Destiny better than me, all these different things. But we'll be figuring it out, and I'll be in the race still of like, oh, man, I'm still not competitively getting closer. But, I mean, even as you pull away or have more levels than me, I'm still within a few of you. I don't feel like I'm just like, I don't know what the hell any of this is or how any of this works. Like, I want to be in that with my friends, if that makes sense. Like, what motivates me, like right now with what's happening with everybody's golf, where me, Joey, and Andy are like obsessed with it and just playing it nonstop. I mean, now Jen is at home today obsessed with it. It's like, that's awesome. I like the fact that we're all in the same, where are you? But like when Andy gets to golf level 7 or golf tier 7 and I'm in golf level tier 4 because I had to fucking work packs, I'm like, God damn it. Fucking hell.
I would hope that you would maybe let go of that reluctance to be Sherpa'd. Yeah. Like, and you said, I don't want to be pulled through. I'm like, but why not? Like, I think there's something to be said about trusting your friends when they have, you know, a leg up on you to say like, hey, you're clearly better at this than me. I want to do it. Help me out. Yeah. That's what friends are for. Sure.
No, and that's true. I just feel like I hate feeling like the kid brother in any game. Where someone's like, oh, do this, why aren't you doing it that way? And like not being assholes about it even. Right. Just like, no, don't do, oh, you did that. All right, well, that now we're, it's like, I don't.
Well, clearly, you have to be with people who have the patience, particularly when we're talking about raiding in Destiny. Everyone has to get Sherpa through at some point because figuring out the first time is really challenging for all players, right? Like, somebody's going to be the one to figure it out first.
Yeah.
Every time I did a raid in Destiny, I played through with someone who had completed the raid before. I never went into a raid fresh with a fire team of people who had never done the raid before. There was always at least 1 or 2 members on the fire team that had completed it and were like, okay, guys, here's where we're going to go. Because no matter, even if they finished it, every playthrough is a little bit different because everyone has a role to play, and how you execute that role is going to be different depending on your play style as a guardian.
Okay. Next question comes from Will J. Newsom, who writes into kindoffunny.com/KFGD just like you can. It says, hello, Greg and Andrea. This question is mainly for Andrea. Sorry, Greg. It's totally fine. I've had Mass Effect Andromeda since launch, but due to the number of great games on the PlayStation 4 at the time, and since I haven't gotten around to playing it, I haven't played it. Now, after putting 20 hours into the game, I can't understand where all the hate is coming from. Sure, there's quite a bit of pop in, but other than that, it's another Mass Effect. The relationships are there, the dialogue is great and witty, and the characters are all interesting. Why is Mass Effect Andromeda getting such a shafting and being put on hiatus? The reviews were all good, albeit not great. Is this EA responding to the internet's overreaction to the game? Many people thought they were going to be better than it actually was. I'm actually disappointed now because I was really enjoying it and there won't be any direct sequel or story DLC. Andrea, what's up?
You got to play it after they fixed it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big thing here is that they put out a massive patch and they've done, a couple of smaller patches as well that really fundamentally improved the game. I still intend to go back and play that game again and really experience it with the patch.
The way they wanted it to be.
The patch in place. Because I enjoyed it even with its multitude of problems. It is a Mass Effect game, but there are a number of reasons why that game is not as good as any of the games in the original trilogy. Sure. And that has nothing to do with the animation or the lines of dialogue. It has to do with just fundamental design of the way that they set that game up. And that's just something that you can't patch, right? Like, that's the way they built that game, and that's just the way that game is. And EA didn't put that game on hiatus. They didn't bench that game, so to speak, because of critical reviews. They benched it because of financial sales. Like, the game just didn't sell. And I don't know if it didn't sell because the critical reception at launch was so bad, or if it didn't sell because people really didn't want Mass Effect without Commander Shepard.
It's gotta be, though, the backlash, right, of everything and the funny gifs and this and the reviews, and it's not I feel like that, because if it would have been another stellar Mass Effect, people would have bought that. Oh,
absolutely. So it clearly had an influence, but I don't know if it was like the defining reason. I think there were a multitude of reasons why people didn't buy that. That also came out in the same 4-week period as Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah. So you had these massive RPGs that are right now the 2 top contenders for Game of the Year out in the same space as Mass Effect Andromeda, which we had all hoped would have been a Game of the Year contender. Yeah. And then when it fell flat, people were like, well, I've got Zelda or I've got, Horizon.
Sure, I'm already making my way through
Why
this
would let me wait? But now it's like the ship has sailed. Yeah. It's too late for Andromeda. And that bums me out as a Mass Effect fan.
Sure. It's a good answer. I see why we put you on the show. Time to squad up. This is where one of you writes in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD. Give me your username, your platform, the game you need help, along with the story, just like Bob did. Bob's on PlayStation 4. His username is OtherBob2. That's the numeral 2. And OtherBob2 says, missing out on playing everybody's golf with you guys was the last straw. I need to find some best friends in Europe to play with. I'm an older gamer who buys and sometimes plays a lot. That's why I'm looking for a good group of hardcore, casually mature players to Hoga with this past week. I bought Everybody's Golf, City Skylines, Elite Dangerous, and Golf Club 2. And next week, I'm considering purchasing Destiny 2 and Friday the 13th if I have some chill people in European time zones to play with. Thanks, and keep being kind of funny. From Bob in Denmark. So hit up OtherBob2 if you want to play any of those games with them. Good stuff. Andrea.
Yes, Greg.
What's going on at kindoffunny.com/you're wrong? What have we messed up today?
Well, let me pull that page up real quick.
I can pop in with one if you want. A man or woman named Smokahontas over on Reddit chimes in with a you're wrong to defend the honor of Greg Miller. I listened to the podcast version of Kinda Funny Games Daily, so I didn't get a chance to write in live, but at the top of the show, Greg said him and Danny were so stupid for not trying to predict which game would try to make their own Battle Royale mode, saying they thought it would be The Division or Rainbow Six, but never thinking of GTA Online. I don't know why, but I could have sworn that someone on the show had mentioned GTA would actually be a great fit for it. Upon my highly unnecessary research into the subject, I found that around the 34-minute mark on the July 19th episode, the one with the original Ubisoft/PUBG discussion, it was Greg himself who said that GTA Online already had the guns, the cars, and a map large enough to pull it off and not have to change much. So props to you, Greg, for the accurate guess. You were right. Did it, everybody?
Yay!
Then I doubted myself, called myself an idiot, but I got there.
The first one is about the morning show. It's about the Cheeto thing.
Oh, fucking God. That's not bleeding over.
No, sorry.
We're not even bringing it up.
PlayStation actually changed the free games for September a little bit ago, and they are now Infamous Second Son, Strike Vector, Truck Racer, Handball, We Are Doomed, Hatful Boyfriend.
No.
Not really a mistake, more of a correction.
No. Well, unless something's changed while we're on this show, I believe you're reading the UK games. PlayStation America, there was a question about this where somebody's like, why do they get different things? And I'm like, licensing rights. That's not a real question.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Hatful Boyfriend I know is happening over in the EU, but I don't think that's changed here in America.
Okay. And the second one was about that too.
Okay. So you're saying we nailed it. That's right, Big Kev Dog.
Oh, this says the initial listing of free games for PS Plus was incorrect on the blog.
Okay, go. Andrea, engage. Take me to the PlayStation blog. Let's look at what's happening over there.
PlayStation blog. Typing in now.
Because we have Infamous Second Son, Strike Vector EX, Monster Jam Battlegrounds, Hustle Kings, Hue, Skyforce Anniversary.
All right. I'm pulling up the website.
The website is loading. Sid Schumann is being...
It says update. An earlier version of this post featured an incorrect version of the September lineup. We have updated the list below with the final lineup for September. The full lineup is Infamous Second Son, Strike Vector, Truck Racer, Handball 2016, We Are Doomed, and Hatful Boyfriend, which is cross-buy with PS4. We Are Doomed also cross-buy with PS4.
Thank you for keeping us honest and giving us a little bit of the information there, because that was confusing with the EU getting different games all the time. There you go.
There you go.
That's not on us. That's on Sid Schumann, everybody. Or actually, you know who? It's on Ryan Clements.
Extras on this guy named James Hallahan. He's the one who wrote it. Okay.
Props to you.
There's another Cheetos thing.
Oh my God. This isn't the show about Cheetos.
It says, yes, Game of Thrones, a Telltale game series, ends with a huge cliffhanger.
Is he spoiling it?
No. It says, was really looking forward to the new season after playing the PlayStation Plus version.
Just for the hell of it, write in, because I'll forget to look at this up after the show. Go to kindafunny.com/KFGD. Tell me what the spoiler was. Nobody else has to write in, just that one gentleman or a woman.
Okay.
Gentle lady, I guess.
Hey guys, a lot more games were announced for the Switch thanks to the Nintendo UK YouTube account yesterday. Thought everyone would like to know. Some were announced today, but a lot weren't. These are the games that weren't announced on the US stream today. Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, Yoku's Island Express, Away, Journey to the Unexpected, Flipping Death, Flat Heroes, Hollow Knight, Battle Chasers Night War, Owl Boy, State of Mind, SHU, maybe Shoe? World to the West.
That's Shoe. That's the one that came to PlayStation already.
Okay. Rogue Trooper Redux. Redux is probably the way I should say that.
Yeah,
War Groove, Tiny Metal, Portal Knights, Brawl Out, Unbox Newbie's Adventure, and Constructor Plus.
God damn. All right.
That's a lot of games.
Thanks for the update there.
Okay. Fire Emblem Awakening has sold 1.79 million copies as of December 2014, so the series is at least a potential million seller.
Okay. I'll give it to you. If it ain't Shirtless Shulk, I don't know about it, sorry.
And kind of coasting off of that, this person says, Fire Emblem Warriors is not a traditional Fire Emblem game. It's Fire Emblem themed Dynasty Warriors. So a niche game themed after a niche series. So I think they already know it won't sell as well as Mario, Zelda, etc.
Good point. Tit for tat, as they call.
Yes. This one is also about the PlayStation Plus games. That's it.
At least it's not about Cheetos. All right, great. Thank you. Now it's time for a new segment called Hard Truth with Greg Miller. Maddie Z writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, angry Greg voice, please, because I'm fucking angry. Greg motherfucking Lone Wolf Miller. What does a best friend and devoted fan need to do to get a question answered on this fucking show? 7 times I write in, 7 times I am denied. Fucking Chris Brown gets 2 letters read. I can't get 1. I will write this until you read it on air. Yes, that may be crazy or dedicated. I haven't decided which one yet. Which podcast do you like to listen to while you game? I choose personally to partake in yours. End Angry Greg voice. P.S. I love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. Maddie Z, it's time for Hard Truth. Your question's not good. Ooh. That's why it didn't get read. This is one of the FAQ kind of questions that get asked all the time. And so I gave you the, I guess, respect, which was a mistake, clearly, of not telling the world your question was bad. I assumed you were such a Kind of Funny fan, you would have heard me talk about Death, Sex, and Money or This American Life already. But apparently, you're one of these fake, fucking, Kind of Funny boys I hear about on the internet all that much. So now, the respect is over. You have disappointed your family, the Z's, Maddie Z. And so that's what you need to know, son. Don't come into my house! You write in 7 times and ask why do you think the question didn't get read? It wasn't fucking good, Maddie. It wasn't fucking good. Tomorrow's host is going to be Danny. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kind of Funny Games. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about on a variety of platforms. You can catch it live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames or catch it later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. You can also get on podcast services around the globe. Remember, PAX is coming. Andrea is leaving. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You'll be doing stuff Friday. She has a panel. She's hosting the Life is Strange one. Friday, they have their party. It's Life is Strange party. Saturday, they have their panel. It's What Good Game panel. Saturday, I have my panel. It's a Telltale panel. Sunday, I have autograph signings. Sunday, the Cancer panel. I'll still be here. Danny's here tomorrow. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.